Okay, so I'm standing here with Luke and Ty from the Groove Merchants, Kutztown-based band that's gained some momentum over the past few years, just with their live performances, very dynamic. How did you guys meet each other? Was it at Kutztown University?
It was. We were both students there. All the guys in the band were students there. And I had met our drummer and our bass player and had like a little trio going with them. And Luke and our drummer knew each other from high school, so they connected with our bass player kind of like separately. And then, long story short, we were kind of scheduled on the same bill for the same night, and with like all the same people. So we were like, why don't we just all play together? And that's what we did, and now here we are making a bunch of noise 4 years later.
You guys have a few albums under your belt. What goes into the recording process?
It's the recording process is.
You got something to say?
I mean, it's just it's very genuine. I think most of the times.
Yeah.
Luke knows a little better than I do.
I don't know about that. I just say it's kind of a culmination of all the live stuff we've done maybe in the past 6 months. We start to, we like write these tunes and kind of work them out, and then as we play them live, stuff gets weeded out, new stuff gets introduced, and then kind of like when the tune's at its pinnacle, so to speak, you know what I mean? Like we kind of like wrapped it up. We're like, all right, we should get this down, and then that's kind of how the last two records work. So we had these tunes floating around, and then we played them live for like a year almost.
Yeah.
And then the bad stuff kind of sank to the bottom. And what we thought kind of worked, came up top, and then we put that stuff down. And then it's a culmination of also being in the studio and kind of just like vibing off that. And sometimes stuff happens in there you don't think would happen, for good or bad.
That's the coolest part. Like we track all the main tracks, like drums, bass, guitar. We track all that live.
Gotcha.
Like we don't do any of that separate. The only thing we do separate is vocals, and then
Not all the time though.
sometimes
Some of them are just straight live cuts.
Yeah, we'll always do live vocals when we record the regular track, and then most times I'll go back and retrack the vocals. But some tunes we use this, depending on the ISO situation or whatever, we'll use this straight vocal cut. But the main crux of every tune, we record all five of us in the same room.
Oh, nice.
So essentially, definitely at least the drums, bass, and guitar, we get that foundation, and then like I said, sometimes we'll lay down the trumpet afterwards and redo the vocals and other guitar stuff. And I think that's the part that we're really having fun with now. Is like Luke said, our first record was just kind of like we have all these tunes and we're shedding them out, and now we're laying them down. And our second record was kind of like that same thing, but we kind of dug into the recording process a little deeper and kind of added some more textures, that you have the liberty to add in the studio that you can't necessarily normally do live. So it was a good creative journey too, that we're kind of, I think, still on that path.
Nice. Both of your dads are musicians and have sat in with you guys, correct?
Yes.
How does it feel to have your dads being phenomenal musicians? I've seen a few times. How does it feel to share the stage with them?
And they're just retired now. We're just letting them have some fun. No,
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding. It's awesome, dude. I know just for me personally, it's sometimes almost intimidating, because like Luke's dad are both from like the Westchester area. Myself and my dad are from the Lehigh Valley, and so he has been playing music in the Valley for the last 50 years. And his name carries a lot of weight in some circles, and so sometimes, I know at least for me, and I'm sure Luke would agree, that's definitely very intimidating to kind of have people come out that know your dad and have seen your dad play, and now they're seeing you play. And, you kind of like not necessarily have to live up to that same par, but it's just like, okay, if they know what he did, like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? But then when they sit in with you and you're kind of doing that same thing together, that's awesome.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to a lot of that. I think I'm really fortunate. I consider myself fortunate to have grown up around him and all his friends, because he's one of the best musicians I know, if not the. And just kind of getting like hip to that and exposed to that is awesome. And sharing the stage is awesome. And kind of grew up learning how to gig and
Same.
and what to do and what not to do and all that kind of thing.
Usually it was what not to do.
But it's it's cool. He's always been about the music, and that really
Yeah.
translated with me. So I thought that was cool, and among many other things.
Yeah.
But
Usually, every once in a while, you have a few special guests, Bethlehem musicians, sit in. Are there any musicians that you really look forward to sitting in with you guys every once in a while?
like guys that come out, or
Yeah,
like
guys
in the
that come
future?
out.
Yeah, I mean the whole network of guys that
Yeah.
come out is always cool.
Yeah, that's super fun. It's just fun building that network. Like when we have horn players come out, like Barry B or George Kakalis, Bill Lance, guitar players like Eric Santana, Will Kiss. All those dudes is just when I was younger, like going back to the dad thing, I would always be almost kind of in awe of like how many people in the music community that my dad knew, and kind of the same thing Luke just mentioned, growing up around it and meeting all those people. And it's fun for me now to kind of be building our own network and doing that and having these dudes come out and sit in. And of course, it's always an honor that they feel like you're good enough to want to sit in with you. You know what I mean? So that's always fun.
You mentioned like the genuine music influence too. What do you guys are a young band. What do you guys see in your future? You're touring the Lehigh Valley, doing Westchester, doing the Philadelphia thing. Do you think this could be a full-time gig and off on the road?
We like to take it as far as it may be, man. Our goal in the near future is definitely like multi-state, like a couple different cities, couple different dates, like in the summer, in the fall or winter, like a little mini tour like that, and just kind of see what happens. We just love playing, man. If we can just play and put our stuff out there and make a penny for it here and there, then we're happy.
You have a few big gigs coming up. One being Music Fest you've been invited back to. What does that mean for you guys? How do you feel about that?
Luke is gonna feel tired because we got like 3 that same week.
Yeah, that's an honor to be like included in the music scene around here, and these guys work really hard to keep these things going, and people like you come out and support it, so it's an honor to be a part of that, and just to be able to play and just be a part of it is an awesome experience. And Music Fest is such a great event. People know that, like on the whole East Coast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's a really cool thing. Everyone's hanging out, and it's an awesome thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
One last question. It's gonna be a hard one.
Oh,
not
God.
really though. But could you name like your top 3 guitar players right now in the music scene?
Oh God. Well, Luke is
Only 3.
Luke is the
Number
lead
1.
guitar player, so I'll shelve this question off to him, and if he can't decide, then I'll step in.
If we're talking guitar players, I mean, it always kind of changes. It goes like up and down. I can name like 50, but guys that are around doing it right now, I've been really into Oliver Wood. He like plays in this band, the Wood Brothers, and he's just got the most like authentic guitar playing. I mean, it just kind of hit me when I heard it. It's not like the most like technical or awe-inspiring in that respect, but it's like a real breath of fresh air, which is like, it's like grittiness and it's raw, and it's kind of reminds me like Sunhouse shit or like just some of that real gnarly stuff. Him, and then definitely Derek Trucks. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
Yeah, I like.
That's Luke's dude, man.
He's ridiculous. He really turned me on to music. I was into music,
Yeah.
but then in college I remember listening to him, and like Afro Blue came on the live record, and then just from there I was like, I had a distinct memory, like, whoa, what is that? Him.
Luke really pretty much got me into him. Like, I knew who he was. I had seen him in like some videos, but when I met Luke in college, and he was like really, it wasn't like until then that I really like dug in, because like everybody I feel like has that one dude that just kind of, like Luke said, turns you on and like kind of opens the door. Like Luke's was Derek Trucks. Mine personally was probably like John Mayer. That's always a point of contention with a lot of people I talk to, but I kind of discovered him more on the guitar player side, not on like the pop side. I kind of went back and then was like, oh, he also does this, but the stuff with like his trio and his, he kind of like really can open my eyes up to like, wanted to pick that axe up and do that.
Personally, Derek Trucks, my first show is November 9th, 2002.
Yeah.
And then my buddy invited me out, and it's he does something super special. He's very mild-mannered.
Oh, yeah,
his tone is something very different and unique than any other guitar players. Mayer has gone through the gauntlet the past 17 years or so, going from pop the blues, and now he's playing with Grateful Dead members.
It's
you
crazy,
know?
dude.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
I just saw him live, and it
yeah.
was like, I mean, he was at the Wells Fargo Center, and he played a trio set with like him and Steve Jordan and Pino Palladino, and it was just unreal. First of all, just the sheer idea of like playing with 3 people in the Wells Fargo Center with 20,000 people there and having to fill up all that space, but then to do that and like rip the roof off the place, you know, it was just unreal. Like I think, like you said, I think, you know, for my money, him and Derek Trucks, you know, tone-wise, I think are the best around right now.
They do have good ears on their head.
Oh, it's unreal.
You ever heard of I don't know if we have to use this for the interview,
go
but
for it.
you ever heard of guitar player JD Simo?
I knew it. I knew you were.
No.
He's the shit, man. He's out of Nashville,
Okay.
and I saw
JD Simo?
Yeah.
JD Simo.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
his
gnarly
band's
as hell.
called Simo.
Okay.
But I saw him at like a tiny pub in what's it called, Manayunk, and they freaking.
Manayunk Pub?
No, it was at the
no,
Grape
it's
Room,
at
wasn't it?
the Dawson Street Pub.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really,
I've been to Dawson.
yeah,
On the
it's
corner there?
Yeah, man, it's a cool little spot. But he came up there and blew it up, man.
Okay.
Yeah, he just like a total like Mike Bloomfield thing, but it's got this whole like thing of his own. It's kind of got this like because he played in some country club bands down in Nashville and like got all these ridiculous chops and kind of. But you should check him out.
Yeah, but that's the beauty. Like, you guys are young and you're listening to these musicians that are light years. You know, have been in the industry for 20, 30 years. You know, Derek Trucks. You know, he had that whole Allman Brothers band family behind him. He started with his little Atlanta Braves hat on at like 12 or 13. But it's it's what you just said. It's like pretty much like finding your own groove and finding your own tone and learning from other musicians too.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
the beauty of it.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
We learned
Yeah.
from everybody. We learned from each other, I think, the most. But then also, you know, just listening to those cats, like I said, finding those dudes who really kind of open that stuff up, and then just like sleeping with it and studying it, and like, you know, listening to it 1,000 times. I'm not kidding. Like 1,000 times, get it in your head before you even pick up your guitar and try and play that riff, and then just like gigging and like meeting other bands and like, you know, learning what they do, and you know, and that's just what's awesome about
music
live
to me
music.
is pretty much having an open heart and an open mind with things, you know.
Absolutely.
Being
man.
able to experiment and whatever you want to do, whatever flows.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
For
like
sure.
you said about the record, the bad tracks, which I think were probably pretty subpar, but you know, musicians are tough on themselves sometimes. So, you know, the bad tracks and the good tracks. So.
Yeah, man.
Anything else to add?
I'd feel like it'd be a sin if I didn't mention Johnny DeFrancesco also as well.
Oh yeah,
because
I
he's
remember
definitely
him from what is it, The Sermon? No.
no. He had his own band for a long time, playing like
Okay.
a bunch of different projects. But his dad, Papa John DeFrancesco, they did like an organ trio thing for a long time. And that's the first music I ever heard. And to me, that was all music was and would ever be for like the first 5 years of growing up. So that was a huge staple, and I'm happy to have been exposed to that. So you should check him out too.
That's true. And my dad is a guitar player as well, just so I don't get yelled at after this interview. But I was.
And there's endless others. But
Yeah, it's you know, but like Luke said, there's sometimes that's just your whole world, you know, that you start with, and then luckily we've both, you know, Luke and I, and then everybody in the band have been able to branch out from there and take that to create what we have now, which is, you know, a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And thank you for always coming out and
Yeah,
putting
man.
this
Thanks,
together
man.
Thank you guys.
and
No problem.
making us feel like we're important
Like we're
enough
special.
to ask
Yeah.
the
You are.
question.
You are.
Yeah. So.